We've got Jake Crawford in the house.
How's it going?
Yeah, so give us a little intro, mate. What are you all about? What's happening?
If I knew, I'd tell you. But there's a few things. I do the musics, and I want twos on whatever Benny's smoking right now.
Nothing.
Yeah. You are former drummer of Shroud.
I am.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. You're right.
They had a small little they had a little bit of fame with their single Whiskey Blues.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
You can find that on YouTube.
Blues.
If you fucking can as well, yeah, it's still
If
there.
you go on YouTube, type in Whiskey Blues by Shroud, you'll see a young 15-year-old Jake on the drums.
Still proud of that shit.
Oh man, it was awesome. I was jamming to that. Because you got to bear in mind, like, where we all come from. Like, we would go to the Raven for the gig, and so you guys, whatever band you were in at the time, was always top tier of that sort of subculture. I swear to God, like, it was always a big event.
Obviously, we all used to go to the Raven Hall. Corby, massive. We've known each other for quite some time now, but I know what you mean. But the trick is with that basically is, I'd just wait for a band to get established and then join them. And that's my entire life. I haven't started anything from the ground up once. I just come in right off the.
Well, were you originally in Coda? Like, were you original band member or not?
No, I wasn't. No, they had another lead guitarist who wasn't into it. They'd already been a band for about a year, and then basically, Crooks, the bass player, messaged me and was like, "Are you up for it?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I am," because this other guy's an ungrateful idiot who doesn't know what
ungrateful piece of shit
band is. Exactly, yeah. So same deal with Coda as well.
Yeah.
Madness.
Well, that's the thing, because like I remember you playing guitar and playing drums from a very young age because of your old man who was in Little Green Men. I actually I'm mutually acquainted. There's a guy living in Weymouth named Chris Padge, and I think either him or his mate Ricky was in Little Green Men.
Yeah. So
that's
true.
So it's a small world. It's a small world.
Never really had much choice in the matter. I was always, not necessarily forced, but it was just like, you're obviously going to play the fucking guitar, So that was kind of it.
So what is your preferred instrument?
It kind of depends what mood I'm in, it really? But it's
you're a sexy drummer,
mate. Like, it's mad actually. I was air drumming yesterday because there's no way that you can have a drum kit set up anywhere right now, or even go to anywhere to like play drums. So yesterday I had some Ruben on. It'd been a little while, and I ended up air drumming to like 5 tracks, one after another.
Yeah.
At full velocity though, because I've been the exercise, and I was like fucking knackered afterwards. But that made me miss drums, wads. But guitar probably just for the convenience of it, because you can just fucking do it anytime, provided you have a guitar. But I do fucking miss smashing drums, man. But
That's it. Well, like, it's a bit of an aside, but it will come back to it in a second with drumming and guitaring and all that. But I was watching this documentary on Netflix called "We Are the Champions." Right. So you're familiar with the show, right?
I am, yeah.
So Benny, it basically covers really obscure competitions around the world. So you got cheese rolling in Gloucestershire, chili eating competition in like America. But the one that interested me the most was episode 6, which was the yo-yo tournaments in Hawaii. And the narrator was saying that, like, these kids were only about 15, 16 years old, but the narrator was saying that it takes about 10,000 hours to reach that level of mastery with the yo-yo. So I did the maths on that. So if you did an hour a day every day, it would take you 27 years to get to 10,000 hours. But chances are, if you love doing something, you're going to do it for more than an hour a day. So would you say that you've reached that level, that 10,000 hour mark with the instruments?
That's a fucking long time in it, and thanks for doing maths on that.
I know.
You hear 10,000 hours bandied around quite a lot, like, if you ever want to get truly good. But having done the maths on that, I would probably say that I've hit 10,000.
Yeah,
on guitar anyway, because there was plenty of times when we were in school where I'd just go home and eat dinner, then play guitar till I went to bed. You know what I mean? So that's like 4 or 5 hours at least.
Yeah.
For a year. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
5 hours a day, every day. It takes 5.5 years to get to 10,000 hours.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Like,
How the fuck are you doing this maths, Dan? What the fuck?
Well, I'm not great with maths, but I'm good with memorizing formulas. So I already done it in advance because that's how organized I am.
fantastic.
You're prepared, mate. You're more prepared than me. I was going to ask him if he's paid his fucking TV license.
And the answer is no. On BBC iPlayer. Have you revoked their access? I reckon. Yeah, straight up. Get them to fuck.
It's called VPN, Express VPN. They don't need to know nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's on a need-to-know basis, and quite frankly, BBC don't need to know.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, so you've definitely hit that 10,000 hour mark, that mastery level. Because the thing is as well, like with the music industry, like with any industry, really, you kind of, it's not just about being a master. Like luck is a massive thing as well. Being at the right place at the right time.
It's absolutely huge. Like, I know loads of people who can fucking shred me under the table. You know what I mean? Like, who are unbelievable musicians, but they've never, either they've never had like a lucky break, or they've just never wanted to take it any further than out of their bedroom. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I nearly, when I was in school and stuff, and I was like playing guitar all the time at home and not going out and fucking playing on Medina Field and that, I was literally like, there was a point where I was like, I should probably like fucking play, like try and write something or join a band. You know what I mean? Because it was just getting to it's like you can't really do much. But
you got to focus on it, like.
Yeah, exactly. Like you got to be like.
There's no taking your eye off the game. You got to fucking like. It's not just about practicing. Practice makes perfect. You got to focus on that one thing. Do you know what I mean? If that's your goal. Exactly.
Yeah. And but it's still fucking hard. But luck is a massive part of it. I know people who have been in bands for not even that long, or they'll have started a band and before you know it, they're already off and touring, and you know they've got the good support tours and things like that. And that is just pure luck. Well, it's a combination of right place, right time, and also, I don't know, just like marketing yourself in a certain way. Because there's a band called Black Peaks, who kind of, the first time I heard of them was because someone was like, have you heard this band Black Peaks? They sound well like a coda. And I was like, sweet, I'll fucking check them out. And then one of their first ever shows after they got put on this big agency was supporting fucking Deftones at Wembley.
No way.
Like, can you?
Oh, mate, no way. Fucking me and Brett went to see that as well.
I was going to
say, 2015.
Like, yeah, 15, 16, something like that.
Yeah, fuck me.
And I knew a band who were friends with them.
Yeah.
I was like, how the fuck have they gone from playing in front of like 20 people at the Dog and Duck to getting this fucking supporting like fucking massive show, Deftones at Wembley? But
Like it's just luck though, in it sometimes.
100%. And they I mean, they have amazing songs. You know what I mean? They got good songs, got good art, and obviously a lot of thought has been put into it. And they're a good support for Deftones as well. They're quite a similar kind of vein music. Mm-hmm. But yeah, for a lot of people that can be very disheartening, especially if they've been slogging already for a good few years, and then they see someone like that. But you just got to view it as, it's just luck. There's not a lot that you can really do about that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And the thing is as well, is like when you start from the beginning of anything, whether it be playing the guitar or writing or doing art, whatever it is, mm-hmm. At the very beginning, there's this saturation in the market, and it's hard for you to get noticed in amongst that. But then there are certain milestones that you're going to achieve. But in order to achieve those milestones, you have to be tested in a way. Life will throw a lot of shit at you. That will test your discipline, that will test your resilience. And most people will turn their backs and think, oh, the hell of it, maybe it's not meant to be. But other people will persevere. And then suddenly it gets that little bit easier to be noticed and be taken more seriously.
Big time. It's true. It can get pretty disheartening in regards to, you know, certain areas, especially in the music industry. But yeah, like knowing when to just power through is a lesson that you got to really sort of like drill into yourself, just to like forget the shit and just carry on what you're doing. Or if what you're doing isn't really, you're not getting any results from it, then just assess it and try to do something different. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, find your niche.
You ever thought about doing that? Or is it just solely music still?
I mean, right, the only time I've ever thought about...
Obviously you got more to life than just fucking music, I know, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, like, is that your main goal at the minute? Especially with like Preston MECO at the moment.
Exactly, like everything leading up to the pandemic, it was pretty much just like, obviously this is what I'm gonna strive to do for my life, you know. And then first lockdown hit, and it was like, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to go on tour ever again. So that's obviously, that's probably one of the only times where I've thought about maybe branching out and doing other things.
Yeah.
Well, you're quite naturally a funny content creator, even if it's just like little snippets. Like the thing I laughed at the most that you ever posted was, it was around the first lockdown, and you were in Asda, and you had a red scarf around your face, and behind you was a woman with a blue scarf, and you just said it's about to go down in produce. It was just hilarious.
Just
off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
Yeah. Like, I know what you mean, but that's a whole other thing. Like, to have the confidence to get up and like be funny in front of people, or to make that your sole thing, is like absolutely like the most terrifying thing ever. Well, like, if you're a musician, at least like if I'm playing a gig, at least I'm hiding behind a guitar or a drum kit or something.
Well, another question I got for you is like, because my dad experienced this as well, like being a performer, like even if it's just 50 people, it doesn't really matter. But he'll leave the stage with such a high, especially if it's been a good performance. But then the next day he is just wiped out. Yeah. And you hear about this, like you get people like famous examples like Michael Jackson or Freddie Mercury. They're very kind of shy people that have, you know, a few words. As soon as they go on stage, this whole persona kind of explodes. But then the next day they'll mention that they're just low, because that pendulum swings both ways. Like, have you ever experienced that?
Yeah, man. Like, I wouldn't say like completely regularly or necessarily as much as some other people might feel that sort of thing, but
yeah, man, carry on.
It's a weird one. Like, if you play some stuff, like if you play some shows, like I played some shows in 2019. I drummed for this guy Dan Lancaster, who he produced the first Dakota album, and then we just sort of stayed friends. And he's an amazing producer and singer and that. He asked me if I would drum for him, and I obviously bit his fucking hand off because it was like a good tour. And he was like, I can't pay you loads, but I can pay you this much. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, as long as I'm fed and watered just enough every day, then I'm sound with it. But the first few shows on that tour were like some of the biggest gigs that I've ever played. And after the second one, we'd come off stage, fucking mental, like amazing. And a few people from Corby came. It was in Birmingham. A few people from Corby came down. My mum was there and my sister was there and shit like that. And it's mad, I haven't actually told anyone this before, but we come off stage and I'm in our dressing room on my Todd, and I can hear, like, through the door, you can hear the crowd, and fucking the second band are about to go on, and it's like fucking amazing. And I'm just sat there and I'm like, I couldn't feel anything. Like, I genuinely was sat there like, I've just played a show in front of like one of the biggest crowds I've ever played in front of. It went really, really fucking well. This is exactly what I want to be doing with my life, or so I've been telling myself my entire life. And I was just sat in that room in complete silence, like is this literally it? And there was like a musical, like the musical equivalent to the Samaritans number on the wall. And I was literally, I was about to phone it and be like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, I feel mad. I felt mental. Like, I was like, this is all I've ever fucking wanted, and right now I can't even like necessarily feel anything. You know what I mean? It was really strange, really strange. I didn't call it because someone came in the room, but in that moment I was like, this is fucking wild.
What were you planning on saying to the Samaritans if you went through with that phone call?
I'm sure. Right? It'd be like, I've just played a fucking amazing gig, and they'll be like, well, fucking cheer up then. Slam the phone down. You know what I mean?
So you step down from that ledge.
So you're saying that once you got off that stage, you just felt a low kind of hit you? Like,
yeah, but it wasn't even necessarily like from high to low. It was like going from just nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Just it wasn't even like I was upset or sad or anything. It was just like I was just flat as fuck. And I was but I expected the high to kind of like carry on a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is work when you get into that sort of thing. Like a tour like that is fucking hard work. Like the good bit is the half an hour that you spend on stage, but everything around it is like is pretty draining. You know what I mean? Like,
no doubt, yeah, because you're not in your own, like, it's a bit off subject, but there was a study about sleep, and they're saying that when you're in a hotel room, you don't sleep properly because we have this instinct in our brain that goes back hundreds of thousands of years, where we're constantly alert to predators.
Yeah.
And the reason why you might get 8 hours of sleep in a hotel and wake up still tired that morning, I was wondering why that was, and then I looked into it. It's like you've never fully hit that REM sleep when you're in hotels.
Mm-hmm. Is that because unconsciously you're aware that it's not your normal surroundings?
Yeah, and the thing is as well is like other mammals can still be half asleep and get a full night's sleep, whereas we've kind of lost that ability. So that the hotels, if you're doing like 40 dates, for example, I don't know how many dates any band will do, but that's why a lot of like people, comedians or musicians, lose their minds. They get burned out.
And it's so like that tour that we did, that was about 3 weeks, and the temptation to get smashed every night is fucking real.
Yeah.
Like, really, every night it's like, especially on a tour like that, it was like we were supporting a band who are pretty fucking well known, and they're doing anywhere between 2,000 and 5,000 fucking seat venues every night, and that's like all your shit's provided. You know what I mean? Like I've plenty of fucking toilet circuit tours, more than my fair share of toilet circuit tours, where you basically get fuck all, and that's it. Like, but that's what you're going for. But with a tour like that, it's like here, have all this alcohol every single night. You know what I mean? And there's so many times where you like could just have a beer, but then that will lead to be like, well, I'll have a drink after this gig, and then I won't after the next two. But temptation is fucking real, and that all adds up to you burning yourself out, But it's people are like, people always do it on tour, they always get burnt out, blah 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 blah. And it's like, but temptation is fucking real, like it truly is. Even if I'm not gonna do it.
And the thing is as well, like sometimes when you've had a good performance, there's always that desire to want to take that high further, whether it be with alcohol, cocaine, whatever it is. You're going to want to take that high further, and it's not uncommon in that industry, or most industries that involve being in a public place. So after you've done a gig, like what's the routine of it like? Like how is it? Are you quite quick to pack up and move to the next city, or is it just the one city you're based in?
On that tour, it was because it was. We were our own crew. There was only 4 of us. It was me, who was drumming, Dan, who's singer and guitar, his girlfriend, driving, and his studio assistant. So there was 4 of us. Whilst normally on a tour like that, even if you've got a 2-person band, you need at least 3 crew, and we only had 2 basically, who were doing multiple jobs. But
nice.
Some of the shows we got to stick around afterwards, but a lot of them it was like pack and fuck off immediately, like even before the headline band played, because we had to drive ourselves and 10 hours or whatever, I mean, I think 10 was probably the longest drive.
Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit.
That's like one end of.
Sorry,
can you hear me now?
You're breaking up a little bit, but you're all right.
You hear me now? You're the gas man.
You see me now?
Your fraudulent days are over, Mr. Gasman. So apparently,
long
journeys, yeah.
Get on with it. You just got to get on with it, otherwise you don't get paid.
My girlfriend was telling me that bands these days, the only way they can really survive is the merchandise. You know, it's a lot of merch has to be sold.
Big time. Merch is touring, and merch is where bands these days get like 80% of their income. I don't know if that percentage is 100% accurate, but it's a fucking big chunk compared to what it used to be. Obviously, with the pandemic, etc., bands have lost a shit ton of income just because that's such an important thing now, which is wild because people used to be able to actually make money off of the music.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. And it's always interesting. It's always interesting to see how the music industry sort of survives new technological phenomenons that happen. Like it used to be LPs, and then it became CDs, and then Napster came along and massively threatened the industry.
Napster.
Napster. I swear to God. So Lars from Metallica,
old school,
the drummer from Metallica, he was like the poster boy for going against Napster, because musicians at the time were frightened. They thought people are getting our music for free. But then once eventually saner heads prevail, they realize, we can put like a subscription service, which is now the norm today. We've got Spotify, we've got Apple Music, you've got, what I mean? So eventually you sort of adapt to the technology. But where do you think it's going from this point onwards? Because I hear Spotify can be a bit sketchy with its royalties.
Spotify are awful for royalties, and everyone knows it. Like, everybody knows it. But unfortunately, they created the best app going. You know what I mean? Like, it's just too easy to use. It's too convenient, and people don't really care. You know what I mean? I think the biggest fucking kick in the teeth, though, is when they fucking gave Joe Rogan all that money to go over to Spotify, while you've got like fucking millions of artists out there just sort of stood there like, can we have an extra 4p on a stream? That would make all the difference. You know what I mean? I know that adds up in the grand scheme of things, but they should probably just like pay their fucking tax and shit. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
It's an absolute fucking minefield. But
it's all sort of becoming centralized now, which is and it's only really the young up and coming artist that's going to suffer as a result.
Yeah, big time. But the thing is as well, it's just going to make them get more clever with it as well. I think a lot of more younger upcoming artists, they will have their music on all of the streaming platforms regardless, but they'll try and build like a small community who will buy a physical release of something, you know what I mean? Or like Bandcamp do the pay what you want thing, which is fucking great for a lot of artists. Like,
there's all, and I was hearing as well, like, you got to be careful with certain things, and I'm sure you've already encountered this in your career, where you get a lot of these like agents or representatives who, they give you all the praise in the world, but secretly they're actually just trying to, take advantage of a young, impressionable person who just wants to achieve their dream. And these agents come along and just get them signing contracts that the artist doesn't understand, and then suddenly they're tied down to a 10-year contract. Or obligation. And it's like, I would always hear about certain big musicians that would be declaring bankruptcy, and I'm thinking, well, how? They were making like $100 million, and you find out that they never owned that money. That was the advance.
Exactly.
And they keep upping the well, I don't know about the interest, but they keep adding it on. So like, everything, the party and the tours and all that, that's all paid for by the record. So you never really own any money.
Nope. This is it, man. This is why when we were growing up, MTV Cribs and stuff, it was like a rapper would have one single out, one big single, and then he'd be on Cribs with his massive fucking house. And it's like, you don't own that fucking house, bro. Like, you need to pay that back. Like, oh my God, look at all that fucking granite. And it's like,
granite, look at my pinball machine in my bedroom, bro.
It is like, it's not yours, mate. Like, it looks fucking great and it's cool, but I think, thankfully, or I'd like to hope that won't be happening as much now, because people are too savvy now, I think. Or the people who are savvy on the internet are savvy enough to know that
it's more fair as well.
Yeah, exactly.
People are quick to like defend their favorite artists and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Or quick to like, someone sends you a fucking contract for something, it will take you 5 minutes to send it to someone who knows what they're on about, recommend that you know.
No, everyone knows someone now, like, or it's easy to find out information easier.
It completely is. Like, it well is. Like, all you got to do is ask the right questions, and someone will tell you whether it's fucking legal toilet paper or not. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly.
That's it. But it definitely still goes on. Like, people are very hasty to just.
Or naive. Like, we had our first podcast, we had that guy, and he just wants to be famous. Like, he'd sign a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Like, people so easy to jump on the fucking fame bandwagon just for that 15 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's like, and a lot of the time I don't blame them as well, because that's kind of all we're taught.
It's easier to get that 15 minutes and live off that for the rest of your life, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah, rather than like maybe putting a bit of effort in regards to, like, you know, your craft or whatever. But then again, it's just there's so many fucking factors. You know what I mean? There's just so many factors, and a lot of people are like, oh, look at these people, they just want their 15 minutes, and it's like, yeah, but that's all they've been taught. Like, that's all they know, and they might have that contract in front of them, and someone will be telling them, don't sign this, but they still won't listen, because they might see that as their one shot, one opportunity. You know?
Exactly.
That's why I have such a disdain for like X Factor and all that, because it's it's just, I don't really watch anymore, so I can't say much about it, but you always get the sob story. It's so inauthentic. And then like, you know, and then could anyone, even people that watch the show regularly, could they tell you who won it 2 years ago? No. You wouldn't know.
Probably not. And it's like, yeah, you paid money to vote for that person, but did you even buy the bill or anything? No, probably not.
And chances are they're getting a bogus contract as well.
I voted for Paul Potts on Britain's Got Talent. Sorry.
Yes. He's probably the only fucker worth voting for, man. He's a wholesome guy.
Yeah, Steve, just like me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Just like all of us.
You know, I just went blank there. I had a follow-up to that. Yeah, we'll talk about Britain's Got Talent. We'll talk about like how their bogus contract. Oh yeah, do you remember back in 2009 when someone started a petition or like a like page on Facebook saying "Get Rage Against the Machine to #1"?
Oh yeah, yeah, Christmas #1, right? It was Christmas, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a protest because every year up until that point, X Factor was always getting the #1 Christmas spot, and someone just thought.
Reason that they started it, wasn't it? I forgot about that.
Yeah. And then they actually played live. Rage Against the Machine got back together again, and they played live on Channel 5 Radio, I believe it was. But they did the uncensored version of it, and it's still on YouTube to this day, right? And they start doing like the F-bombs and all that. And then it's 9 o'clock in the morning when this happened, and you could just hear the woman go, "Get rid of it," and he goes, says, "We told Joe not to play that version of the song, but he did it anyway." Go buy Joe single, please. Is that his name? Is that the guy's name?
Joe McElderry. Don't ask me why I know that.
No. The lead singer of Rage Against the Machine.
Fucking. Oh, mate.
Zach De La Roche.
Zach, sorry. I don't know why I said Joe. Sorry. My bad. Zach.
Joe? And there's me saying the actual guy, X Factor guy's name.
Yeah. Shit. The X Factor guy.
I'll
was
cut
Joe.
this bit out. I don't.
Nah, keep it in, man.
I'm joking.
We're all flawed somehow, you know.
Yeah, mine's knowing fucking previous X Factor contestants.
That good or bad?
I think that's bad, mate.
And there's me saying, like, can you remember like who won X Factor in 2009?
I know.
It's ingrained in our brains.
As a matter of fact, yes, I can.
Do you know what? That's when you're in school and that you kind of still watch telly with your mum. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, big time. I would have known a few from being forced through my grand.
Yeah, a couple Big Brother winners. You know.
Well, funny enough, we're trying to get hoping to find someone that was on Big Brother like 15 years ago and get them to come on.
Yeah, that's one of our fucking missions.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
We try to get
someone outside the box like Brian Bello or some shit, you know. Do you know what I mean? Someone fucking funny like that. I was gonna say a different name, but I can't. I really can't.
Oh, okay.
Oh man. So we tried to get Barry Scott from Sill It Bang, but I couldn't find him.
Man, that would have been the ultimate.
It's not his real name, that's why.
Yeah, the poor guy can't get work because everyone thinks he's really Barry Scott. His real name's Neil Burgess. And I think he was an extra in Casualty once.
Massive. Bless his cotton. Whoa.
It's fucking gone.
Yeah, man. So, oh man, I'm losing my rhythm, man. Sorry, let's just keep going.
Rhythm as a dancer.
30 minutes of non-stop.
What's your favourite music to shred, Drake? So you're on stage and shit. What's your fucking favourite to jam?
I mean, I love all the stuff, and the guy that I played drums for, that Dan Lancaster, his stuff's well poppy. Like, it's just pop music. That's all it is. But with
I enjoyed that, man.
It's great. Like, his voice is unbelievable. His songwriting is ridiculous. But I love playing heavy shit live. There's nothing better than playing heavy riff live. Like, there's literally no better feeling ever.
It's the best to jam to as well. It's the best gigs to go to as well, man. I love it.
100%, man. A lot of people have a bit of a preconception of metal, and it's very outdated. The some of the people's viewpoints on it, but it's some of the most inclusive environments that you could.
I've met some of our best mates fucking getting punched in the face. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's mental.
Exactly. It's fucking wild. Like, it's very inclusive. Like, there are obviously subgenres and things like that, and things do change, but overall,
it gets a bit wild, some of the genres, man.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it gets like everyone's a fucking target and all that, which is great to watch, but just don't get.
You can answer a question for me then. So, what is industrial rock? Like, what is the definition? Yeah, what's the definition of that?
They play drums with steel beams and shit. No, I'm joking.
Jet fuel and industrial. I think. I mean, 9 Inch Nails are the main reference point for industrial.
Right, yeah.
For modern industrial, anyway. But it all stems from goth in the early 80s, and then through punk and like post-punk, and then just people injecting rock and metal with more electronic elements. I think that's kind of it. But a lot of that is becoming massive again now, because it's like the next wave of electronic music.
Yeah,
easily and accessible it is to like make your own fucking music these days. But a lot are leaning towards the industrial stuff. There's a guy from Northampton called Nailbreaker who it's kind of like wigged out screamed rapping with like guitars and mental industrial noises. He's really fucking good, but he's like
like that dude, what's his name? Ghost something.
Ghostmain.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a fucking Northamptonshire Ghostmain. That's kind of like his vibe, but he's really good. Some homegrown talent right there.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out, man.
There was a weird genre of music I caught wind of about 3-4 years ago that never quite caught on. It was Arabic dubstep. Swear to God.
More of that. Give me more of that.
Yeah, it sort of kind of like it started from North Africa and it made its way to France. Same time fidget spinners came about.
Okay, right? You were still in France at this time.
Yeah. Like, it's weird. Like in France, for example, like it's predominantly, especially in the south, a lot of Muslims, and probably some of the nicest people I've ever encountered.
Yeah.
Right. Seriously. And but what was weird was the cultural thing. Like, you would have a Peugeot go past you with a bunch of young Muslims in it, and they'd be playing their sort of religious music out loud.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking you'd never see a bunch of Christians in the UK having songs of praise. You know what I mean?
The fucking course, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you've got that.
True, actually. Like, I hear quite a lot of people from certain ethnicities in London, and they listen to their own culture's music. You know what I mean? They will have that blaring out whilst. Yeah, I don't know.
I used to live in London. You go one side of the street is Jamaican, the next side of the street is fucking Polish. You know what I mean? They love it. But it's well multicultural over there.
Yeah, they're playing their own shit, and like I don't know what the equivalent of us would be. It'd be like fucking Vera Lynn or some shit. You know what I mean? Old British war music or something. I don't know what our equivalent would be, but that's mad to hear. Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I mean. And like you were talking earlier about the sort of industrial rock, renaissance. And it's like when we were growing up, when we were coming of age, like we had the same thing with punk music. Like punk music of the 70s was starting to come back again with like Franz Ferdinand. Was it Franz? Would he be? No, he wouldn't be.
Definitely like
indie.
A new wavy post-punky indie kind of thing. Yeah. But there's definitely elements of it.
Yeah. Because like screamo, emo music was sort of like hardcore punk music in the 70s and 80s, and then it became. And I find it so interesting how music evolves through. I mean, I know like people have this sort of, they're kind of obsessed with compartmentalizing all these genres, and you can get lost a little bit. But it is interesting how music evolves, but then it sort of comes full circle again every 30 years.
It really does. It well does. It's funny actually you should mention that, because just before this I saw a woman post something on social media, and she was saying like, why would someone send me a Spotify link to check out a band and not a video? Because I want to know what they look like as well. And I was like, while I understand where you're coming from, I'd rather just listen to a band first. Yeah. Because you will make a judgment. If you see what a band looks 100%. Like before you hear them, you'll be like, oh, these look like gimps or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but then you'll hear the tune and you'll be like, this is fucking amazing. Why did I make that judgment? You know what I mean? But what was your original point? I've completely forgotten.
No, it wasn't even just a point. It's more just like about how everything is cyclical. We sort of we're creatures of habit. Trends come and go, and they come back again. It's like, I'm curious to know what the 2020s is going to bring. You said about industrial rock coming back again.
Yeah, there's a lot of like really noisy music around that's like heavily electronic influenced, but really distorted, like 80s like heavy metal, like thrash metal and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a band Horror. I don't know if you've heard the band Horror, and they're like a couple of dudes. I think they're from New York, and it's kind of like rappy, rocky, but with these massive, slow, dirty, distorted beats. Like it's really hard to listen to at times because it's so full on. But if you're in the mood for it, it's fucking amazing. Like, but it's like a pure mashup of all these different styles. And I think that's, especially since maybe like 2018 onwards, I don't think anyone really gives a fuck anymore. Like it's getting, like you were saying about people compartmentalizing, it's getting harder and harder and harder to pigeonhole certain genres of music. You know what I mean? Some artists do so many fucking different styles, but they're just one artist. You know what I mean? Like it's getting a lot, which is cool. It is cool, but also I quite like being a metalhead. I mean, I'm sure you get it as well, Benny, because it's like, you know, you've got like fucking hardcore, and then you've got deathcore, and then you've got blackened deathcore. You know what I mean? It's like
black metal, death metal, fucking
exactly. Yeah, and it's
and
like
Enya.
Yeah, there's that too.
Enya and Seal and fucking Prince.
It's
man.
But it's nice to have little labels just to sort of give you an idea of what it might be. You know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, just...
Mate, I'll type in... I hate doing, like, looking for your favourite genre, because you type metal in fucking Spotify and it'll bring up AC/DC. Like, I like AC/DC when I was 10, but, like...
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not looking for AC/DC these days.
Yeah, they're not metal either. Like, I get...
Yeah, exactly.
I get why you put them in the umbrella. They've got a spiky logo, but they're
and they've got a lightning bolt. It's kind of scary, but, you know...
Yeah.
Well, there's one genre I'm glad that never became a thing, because this particular genre, I can't remember what it's called, but basically grunge killed it. And it was in the early 90s. I think it was pop rock, or it might have been alternative rock.
Oh, mate.
It was Jesus Jones, the first album of No Doubt. You know what I mean? It was just
yeah,
weird.
I know what you mean. Yeah. I mean, there was, in the late 80s, there was like, obviously there was hair metal, like your Motley Crues, your Poisons, things like that, with like gigantic hair and singing about shagging, which is like fine, you know, that's the sound. But then obviously Nirvana came along and were like flannel shirts and real issues. But then, yeah, No Doubt is a weird one as well, because they were part of that kind of grungy kind of thing, but they also had a ska, you know, like a reggae element.
Yeah.
They were a real weird.
Well, if you listen to their first ever album from 1992, like they hadn't figured out what they were. It wasn't until
Really?
It wasn't until 95, the second album with I'm Just a Girl. I think that was the song that made them.
Yeah.
But the album before that is dog shit. Like I recommend you check it out. They just, you could just see the band would, like, they actually had to pay the radio station just to put their song on. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh my god.
Like they just had an identity
It's like
crisis.
the band NERD, like they'd be singing, rapping, then the guy would be fucking ripping out a sick riff. You'd be like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What is going on? What are these guys?
Like, they're one of those bands that properly, like, have never given a fuck, innit? Like, they just
yeah.
Pharrell is like, he's never given a fuck.
No.
From doing any RD shit to, like, hearing Happy, you're like, oh yeah, this guy has never cared.
I don't give a shit. He just wants money. He'll throw some paint on a football shirt and sell it. Fucking dick, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, Jesus, man.
The money is a factor, let's be honest.
For some people.
Yeah.
So I was watching James Hetfield on Joe Rogan about a year ago, and he was mentioning about, like, trying to get the masters of his own music. Like, it took him 20 years just to get the masters of the music that it was their music anyway.
That they wrote and recorded, and
So if it was that difficult for Metallica to get the masters, like, how, it must be impossible to get the original masters of any song that you create.
If you signed a contract in the fucking 80s or 90s or something like that, then yeah, probably. You know what I mean? Like, back to the whole contractual thing. But yeah, like, that is literally the equivalent of, like, having your children, you know what I mean? They're like, yeah, these are your kids, but you're not allowed them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You're not allowed them.
And no, my girlfriend was saying, like, even these days now, you've got these agents and producers trying to take a percentage of the merch now. And I'm like, no way.
Yeah. Because now they know that that's where bands make a majority of their money from.
Yeah. So,
fly motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But regardless, the message is, anyone that's going out to support you, buy the merch. That's the best way to support a band, is it?
Yeah, buying directly from a band's, like, Big Cartel or Bandcamp or wherever they do their merch through is easily the best way to actually support a band. You know what I mean? Like, there's just no middleman, you know?
Yeah,
sure. You just don't want to be paying anyone to facilitate anything in the middle. It's so easy now just to be like, here's money literally going into your band's bank account or into your PayPal or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like that no one's taking a cut.
Yeah, that's it.
Merchandise, physical CDs, vinyls, whatever. I mean, who the fuck wants a CD anymore? But, like, people still make them and buy them. Yeah. I've bought some in the last couple of years, you know what I mean? I've still got shitloads of CDs, you know what I mean? And I still buy them every now and then, but...
Well, again, it's a nostalgia thing, isn't it? Because, like, LPs came back.
Yeah, what is that? Is that a CD? I haven't seen one of them in years.
Answered.
Nah, you won't see them titties anyway. They're quite tiny.
Worst case scenario, we'll just fix it in post. But, I was going to ask something again, but I just forgot.
Sorry, I shouldn't have brought the titties up. My bad.
I've got titties on the brain now, dude.
My bad. Oi.
Oh no, it's gone. It's gone. All right, just move on to the next thing.
Move on.
That's all good, man. All right, what are you doing there, Benny?
Preston MECO, Jake. How's that going?
It's not going.
Well, obviously, you can't perform, but, like,
pretty much, yeah. I mean, no, we recorded the album, which was already like 80% written before I joined the band. So again, I've just come in and claimed all the fucking glory, like I've been doing since I was 13. It's the same deal. But yeah, the album's been pushed back a couple of times, obviously because of the world. But no, first single is coming out on February the 19th. And then the album will be coming on June the 11th, I think. February 19th, which is my granddad's birthday, and Bon Scott from AC/DC's death day, which is quite nice.
Yeah. So what's the best platform to buy off to support you?
For Preston MECO, I'd probably say straight through we've got a Big Cartel page, which is just Preston MECO, Big Cartel / Preston MECO, I think.
Yeah. We'll plug that anyway. We'll plug that.
Yeah, that'd be great. But I think when the first single comes out, then we'll be doing album like bundle pre-orders, so you can get like a t-shirt, vinyl, all that kind of shit.
Yeah, nice.
In a one-er sort of thing. I'm not sure what the price is going to be on it, but it'll all be on the Big Cartel page, which is
regardless. I'm going to show my support regardless.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
You selling CDs, are you?
I think we probably will, you know.
Yeah, have titties in the fucking album cover.
No, maybe speak to the manager, see if we can get them reprinted. Yeah. But that's all stuff like Preston MECO is the first band that I've been in who actually have a really good manager who has their best interests at heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
this feels to me like the first time I've ever been in a band that has not necessarily has good prospects, but feels like a proper professional band, you know? Like Akoda was to a certain extent, but we never really had a manager per se, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was all like you just doing your own thing. Exactly,
yeah, which is why it's kind of slowed down for a bit, because it's fucking hard work, like really hard work, you know what I mean? Like literally doing everything ourselves. But Preston MECO is like, I've come into a well-oiled machine, which is I'm fucking grateful for, you know what I mean? Because they know what they want. And I was a massive fan of the band before I even joined, so it's like all I want's what's best for them, you know what I mean? I still don't feel like I'm in the band. I still feel like I'm just sort of like I'm helping. You know, I'm just helping push it out there a bit more. But no, they're fucking great, man. So good.
Yeah, they are, man.
Real good.
And eventually you will be a part of the band, because it's like Brian Johnson from AC/DC. Like, he wasn't the original singer, but now he is.
Exactly. Now he's the fucking guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, eventually, like when we finally get to go out and play some fucking gigs and stuff, it will become more solidified. But because it's just been a year of not really doing a lot. I mean, we recorded the album. You know what I mean? But other than that, it still doesn't feel like I'm really in the band, which is quite funny.
Yeah, and especially that first night when you do go on stage, it's going to be a surreal feeling. You're like,
it's going to be mad. But me and Luke, the guitarist, talk about it all the time. It's like that first moment where we look across the stage and be like, ah! Like, fucking hell.
It's going to be sick, man.
Yeah, it'll be funny. It will be funny. And then
did you have tours and stuff lined up for this year? Yeah.
Last year.
Dates. Last year, yeah.
We were supposed to. So they recorded their last album with a producer called Eugene Machine, who's like,
I love that name.
Yeah, absolute legend. Like he's a pretty renowned producer, and they recorded their last album with him in America because they had a hookup through a friend who knew him, and they were like, you need to record this band. So he did it, which is crazy because he's like, again, he's a pretty fucking well-known guy. And then so this is before I was in the band or anything, and then they met him at the NAMM show in Los Angeles, which is where all of the music companies show off all of their new gear. There's the equivalent is like Music Live in the UK or the Birmingham, like where there's all the guitar stalls and stuff. But they bumped into him. They were going to do this album with another producer, and then they bumped into him, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we need to do it with you again because he's the fucking man. He's just, you know." He's got a good ear, not only for making your band sound good, but also he'll be like, yeah, you see this section of this song? This is shit. Change it. You know what I mean? Like,
he's not a kiss ass.
Exactly. He'll literally be like, let's make this song better because this song could be better. So we were supposed to go and record it in America again. Like that was supposed to be what was happening March last year. And then literally the day before we were supposed to go, lockdown happened. The day before.
No way, man.
And then we were supposed to do that, record the whole album over there, which for me was like, this is fucking
dream.
Yeah, like there's a mad opportunity. You know what I mean? Like I was buzzing my mouth for it, and then nothing. And also we were supposed to do that and then come straight back, have a week off, and then go out on tour for 2 weeks as well. So it would have been like, I wouldn't have had time to even fucking think about any of the stuff that I'm talking about now because it was like away we go. But unfortunately not.
Hey, it was meant to be, you know. And again, it's going back to what I said earlier. It's like certain circumstances outside of your control are going to test your determination. It's going to test your ambition, and a lot of people are going to have no choice but to quit and get day jobs. So it's almost going to, free up the market a little bit for you.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, it's a lot of people
Sorry, but
really be.
Sorry, you broke up there. Repeat that again.
Just saying, yeah, a lot of people have been feeling the pinch and getting disheartened, But yeah, you just gotta try and persevere. What was the last thing you said there? There was another thing.
No, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's got something to do with the pyramids.
Yeah. Thing else.
Yeah. All right. We're coming up to that 1 hour mark, so I've got one last question. This is going to be a weird question, but I'm going to try and articulate it, right? So with every discipline, right, there's always that kind of big thing that everyone tries to try and attempt at some point. So like with skateboarding, you've got the Indy 900, right? With parkour, you've got like, I don't know, the palm flip, for example. I don't know. I'm just saying things. But with the guitar or the drum, like what things are there that are just like famous, but only really known to those who practice?
Okay. In terms of drums, it's probably like there's a few things with drums like that relate back to just like marching drums. You know what I mean? Just like marching line drums, where it's just like military drumming, and you have like patterns that you do. Being able to do like all of the patterns that are called rudiments, being able to have those internalized and like know them and just be able to bust them out at any point is like the ultimate. If you're an aspiring drummer, like if you learn all them and then you can apply them to a full drum kit, you're pretty much fucking sorted. You know what I mean? Like but that takes fucking probably 10,000 hours. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
To get it to the point
where
the
maths again. No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
Come on. Yeah. But that's a big one for drums. But again, it doesn't really matter. Like if you can play a fucking good beat 4/4 and not go out of time, you're pretty much like you can play 80% of all of the music in the fucking world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you know what you're fucking talking about and you're a massive nerd, then yeah, learning all that stuff that's a good way to go.
Yeah, it's like I said, because I've never really participated in music. I mean, I played the recorder in year 2, but let's be honest, right? I don't know to sound ignorant, but the recorder is one of those few instruments that's just a nothing instrument. I mean, no matter how good you play it, it sounds like shit.
Oh, come on, give some recorder its due, man. Jeez.
I know, man. Have you ever seen The Office? That little green one that Dwight plays. He makes that sound beautiful, man.
Well, there are like anomalies, you know what I mean? But it's just, I don't know. But yeah, I was just curious to know what the Indy 900 equivalent was in the like certain instruments, you know.
With guitar, it's probably sweep picking.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like fucking. Basically, it's like one movement with a pick. You just sweep the pick over all of the strings, but you synchronize your fretting hand with what you're doing. So it's like one movement, but you're playing like fucking 6 notes down and 6 notes up and 6 notes back the way. Like at incredible speeds, some people can do this at. And in terms of like the shred world, if you can sweep pick mad arpeggios flawlessly, then like you're a bit, but you're also a bit of a virgin, but you're still a bit of a don. You know what I mean? Like,
do you like 9 8-string guitars? Do you just prefer 6?
I've got an 8-string, but it doesn't work. I bought it off my old flatmate for £100. But I got it off of him just so I could see if I could maybe do it. You know what I mean? And I learned like 2 or 3 riffs, and it fucking hurts. The next.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. I got one question before we write off. Favorite Steph Carpenter riff?
Oh my god.
Only choose one. No cheating. Fucking.
I can't remember the fucking name of it. It's off Diamond Eyes. Oh no, I can't remember the name of it.
Is it called Diamond Eyes by any chance?
It isn't called Diamond Eyes. No.
You've seen The Butcher?
I was going to say You've Seen The Butcher, but it's not, because that is just dirgy and dirty and sexy.
It's disgusting, isn't it?
But I'm gonna find it now because it's the one that came into my head.
Rocket Skates, Prince.
It is. It could be Rocket Skates, to be fair. I'm just looking at this and now I'm like, oh no, every single song is a fucking riff.
Sorry to put you on the spot, mate.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Careful with the music. Copyright. We got tits and copyright now.
I know,
I'm joking.
Tits and copyright deal.
Oh, it's Risk.
Yeah.
It's Risk.
Yeah,
That is fucking dirty, man.
nice. It is disgusting.
I'm going to listen to that after this now.
Yeah, no.
Rock
Well,
and roll.
Jake, mate, any last things to say? Thanks for your time, man. I really appreciate it. It's been awesome.
Not at all.
It's been awesome.
It's been a blast. It's
Good to
fucking,
see you as well. Good to see that beautiful mug.
man. It's been fucking time. Oh, you were saying earlier as well, sorry, Pikeman Mastiff, that the thing to do on a skateboard is the Indy 900. Mine was coming off that little curb down at Sporty.
Yeah. We went to
Me behind you clapping like, yeah.
I remember we went to Rushden, didn't we? It was just like we just got dropped off in like some like heroin kind of infested. Like, right, boys, see you in 3 hours, and we're just like, there was me, you, and Andrew Cameron. And we're just kind of like just like messing around and all that, and you just tell me about like all these horror movies you'd watched. I'd be fascinated. I'd be like,
Oh, mate, don't get me started on that. That was a bad time for me. House of Horror.
You're telling me to go on. You're just telling me to go on like the horror channel and check out The Exorcist, check out Mother's Day, all these like pornography movies. I'm 12 years old.
Yeah.
Begotten.
Oh, don't start me on Begotten. Jesus Christ, what even is that?
Is that a recommendation then?
No.
No. Basically, right, it's not a snuff movie. It's not a snuff movie. It's an art movie. But what it was, I found out about this movie because I was a big Marilyn Manson fan when I was in school.
Well, yeah.
And there was one song called Black. It was Black Song or something along those lines, something black.
Yeah.
And it was just footage from this movie, Begotten.
Uh-huh.
And it's just like a really messed up, gory version of the Genesis story in the New Testament or whatever it is. And so messed up movie.
Used to love a bit of that.
And I think
that fucking website, that House of Horrors, man, I used to rinse that in school. Got caught on it a fair few times by fucking Miss Marshall.
Oh no.
Miss Marshall.
Innit?
I wonder what she's doing these days.
I tell you, I mean,
I walked his mop.
what scares people is subjective though, so it really is about taste. But the frightening movie I saw most recently was Hereditary. That kind of shook me up a little bit.
That's just damaging to the brain, man. That's scary.
It really is. I felt, I was saying about coming off stage and not feeling anything.
Yeah,
After Hereditary, I was just
I felt numb, man.
Yeah, pure cold and numb, and oh my god.
And you're left with so many questions as well. At the end of it, I'm like, what just happened?
Which I love.
Just want to spoon my dog, man.
Yeah, I get my animals around me and just fucking chill.
Yeah. I had to go on YouTube and listen to some autistic kid explain it to me. He goes, and in this part of the movie.
It is wild though, isn't it? I love an open end though. I love it.
Oh yeah.
No euphemism there, but I love it when it's fucking open ended. Like, I think it's wicked. My missus fucking hates it though.
Yeah.
I made her watch American Psycho, and at the end of it, she's like, "What happened?" And I'm like,
that's a great film. Like, the older I get, the more I appreciate that film. Like, especially the whole Patrick Bateman bit with the identity thing. Like, who am I? Like, what am I? I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it's fucking incredible, man.
As a kid, I was confused by it, but then as an adult, I'm like, oh, it's about 80s vanity and
exactly
trying to
factors with that fucker.
All right, before we leave, on the spot, favorite film of all time.
Dumb and Dumber. It's got to be Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, right. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Cool.
It has to be. I mean, I know we were talking about Hereditary and things like that, but like, if you just want a good time.
Dumb and Dumber.
Were you disappointed by the sequel? Were you disappointed?
I didn't even go and see it. Go and see it. You know what? Everyone at the time, I was like, I'm not going to see it. And all my mates are like, well, you got to at least like go and see it. You got to. I was like, no, I don't want to. How can anything top
Yeah.
this film that's been in my life for, fucking 25 years.
Yeah.
And then went and saw it, and I went, well, and they were like, yeah, it's fucking shit. I was like, there you go.
The problem is like it has the right heart. I reckon the second movie does have the right heart because it's got the same writers, same actors, but it just I don't. 20 years later, man, things change. Things change.
Innit?
And when you've got 50-year-old dudes doing it again, it kind of seems a bit creepy.
Mm-hmm.
I like the soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's got Empire of the Sun in it.
Well, there you go. That's pretty fucking decent.
Yeah, nice. Well, anyway, we hit the 1 hour mark. So February when your single comes out?
February 19th, new single, Another Day.
February 19th.
Released on Marshall Records.
Marshall Records. Forwards. What will they look up, or was it just that one record?
Just Marshall Records. That'll be it. Yep. February 19th, Another Day, press the MECO. That's it.
Yeah. Well, like I said,
Awesome.
send Benny all the plugs that you need and want.
Will do.
We'll make sure
Yeah, I'll put it in the description.
I've hit the 20% battery mode, so that's perfect. We've done this.
I've got a nice
All right.
Well,
Yeah,
again,
man.
thanks a lot, Jake. We'll let you know when we're posting this, and best of luck to you, mate. Keep strong, and hopefully see you on stage
Stay
at some
safe,
point.
brother.
Man.
Yeah, you too. Good to see you, man.
All right.